How's it going, guys? TacTixHD here with my NHL 2014 mock draft. So I decided to just do the top 10 picks for this draft, guys, as this draft really doesn't have as much high-end talent as the last draft, so I'm really not, as knowledgeable on all these players as I was last year. So I decided rather than just making random picks, not really knowing what I was talking about, I'd rather just go with the top 10 and do my best idea of, how that's going to play out. So, obviously, guys, with the first overall pick, we have the Florida Panthers. And also, guys, before I move on, I want to say, obviously, I'm assuming there's no trades happening in these top 10 picks, as that would, change it all up. But in regards to the first overall pick, guys, I think the Florida Panthers will take Aaron Ekblad. I think he's just the top player in the draft, the top defenseman. After him, I think the next defenseman's ranked like 13th or something. And, really good player. Obviously, Florida could just build their defensive core around him with Kulikov in there, Brian Campbell. They even got Goodbranson still. So I think that's a huge pick for Florida. They got Barkov last draft. They got the Huberdeau a couple years before. So I think they have enough offense that they can afford to go to defenseman here. Take Aaron Ekblad, who a lot of people say is the top player in the draft. So assuming they don't trade that pick away, I have them taking Aaron Ekblad. With the next pick, guys, Buffalo Sabres at number 2. I have them taking Sam Reinhart. Obviously, very good player. I'm pretty sure he won the WHL MVP award. Really good player. He's a center, which is something Buffalo needs. They're pretty lacking at center, and obviously, their defense isn't too bad. They got 2 defensemen in the first round last year, and they still have Tyler Myers, who if he can come back from a couple down seasons, will be a very good defenseman in the future. And I think Reinhart, for whatever reason, seems to be their guy. They're going to go with. Next, guys, at number 3 of the Edmonton Oilers. Now, the Edmonton Oilers are in a pretty sticky situation. A lot of people say they might trade this pick as, they need to do something to change up their team, but I don't think they're going to get the value that is necessary to trade away the 3rd overall pick. So, pretty much they're using with 2 options. They're going to go with Sam Bennett or Leon Draisaitl. And a lot of people are saying Draisaitl because he's a bit bigger. And, he's I think it's like a couple inches bigger than Bennett. He probably weighs like 20, 30 pounds more. But at the end of the day, guys, I don't think you should base your pick off of how much bigger a player is. I think Sam Bennett is all in all the much more skilled player. He's the number 1 North American skater based on Central Scouting, and I think he's, one of the top players in this draft, gonna be one of the top players from this draft. So even though, he's a little bit undersized compared to Draisaitl, he's still 6 feet tall, he's still like 180 or whatever. He's not like a small guy by any means, but he is smaller than Draisaitl. I think Edmonton still has to go with Sam Bennett. I'd actually seen him play in Kitchener one time, and I mean, honestly, guys, when he was on the ice, he controlled it, he tore it up. I think he finished that game with like 2 goals, 4 assists. So I've seen him firsthand, what he can do. He's just an amazing player, and I think Edmonton will be quite foolish to trade away with this pick if they don't get enough value, or to take Draisaitl over Bennett. So next, guys, with the 4th overall pick, we have the Calgary Flames. Because of Edmonton's pick, I think Calgary's pick is a very easy pick. Obviously, they're going to go with Draisaitl here. Calgary needs a center. Having Draisaitl and Monahan as their future number 1 and number 2 centers, I think that is just amazing for the Calgary Flames fans to look forward to. Even though I just kind of bashed on Draisaitl a bit, saying how much better Bennett is, that does not mean I don't think Draisaitl is a very good player at all. I just think Bennett's better, but I think Draisaitl obviously definitely fits the Brian Burke mold. He's a bigger player. You can play center, which I think is where the Flames will play him, but you can also play wing if he has to, and he's already obviously from the WHL, so he's already from out there, so I'm sure the Flames have done their homework on him, and I think that's a perfect pick for Calgary. Next, guys, at the number 5 pick, we have New York Islanders. Obviously, they chose to keep this pick opposed to giving away their next year's pick. I think that was the right move for New York Islanders, because if they give away if they give away this year's pick, then they're basically telling their fans that they plan on doing worse than 5th last in the NHL, which is not the message you want to send. As well as signing Halak, I don't think they'll be worse than 5th last. If they win the lottery from like the 10th position though, and get McDavid 1st overall, that would just be really unlucky. I don't think that's going to happen though. So with this 5th pick, guys, and I think again we have a really nice easy pick here. I think the New York Islanders will take Michael Dal Colle. He is simply just the 5th best player available. Also, he's a scorer, which is something the Islanders could definitely use, and I think it's just a really nice fit for them, and should be, an easy pick for them to make. Next, guys, at number 6, we have the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the Vancouver Canucks really have a lot of options here. Personally, I think they have to go with who I believe to be the next most skilled forward, and that's William Nylander. He's from Sweden, and I think, obviously the Canucks already have a good amount of Swedes on that team, and I think basically in the Canucks position, they have to take the best player available in terms of just, the most skilled player, and I think Nylander, however you want to say it, definitely fits that mold. So next, guys, at number 7, we have the Carolina Hurricanes. I think just like the Vancouver Canucks, the Carolina Hurricanes have to pick the next best player, regardless of position, regardless of anything, just who's the most skilled player, and I think that's going to be Nickolaj Ehlers. He's from Halifax. He tore it up this year in his rookie year for Halifax, obviously. He's coming over from Sweden, I want to say, and he played really well, and I think, Carolina's already got enough, size, I guess you could say, on forward with both Stahl brothers, and I think Ehlers is just a huge pick for them. So next, guys, at number 8, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs here are going to take Nick Ritchie. Obviously, that kind of fits Toronto mold. You know, they like those big, strong power forwards. With the bust that is David Clarkson, I think, you know, if Nick Ritchie does well enough in training camp this summer, you could even see him kind of take on the role they wanted Clarkson to take on last year. And obviously, he's more of a scorer. He can actually score goals. He's a big player. And I think that'd be a really nice pick for the Maple Leafs fans. Next, guys, at number 9, I had the Winnipeg Jets taking Brendan Perlini. Kind of similar like the Vancouver Canucks, Carolina Hurricanes. I think they could use some scoring there in Winnipeg. I think they have a pretty strong, top 6 defensive core, but I think they definitely need some help scoring. Perlini should help them do that. He's a winger. He can probably play left or right side. He's also pretty big. It's 6'3", 200 pounds. So I think he can definitely play, whatever they need him to do, and I think he can help them score goals. I think that's a really nice pick there for Winnipeg. And lastly, guys, at number 10, we have the Anaheim Ducks pick that they got from Ottawa Senators. So Ottawa's pretty upset about this. I'm going to have Anaheim taking Kasperi Kapanen. Obviously, he's from Finland, so he's another European player. And I think, obviously, Anaheim's already got a good amount of Finns on the team. They're definitely not afraid of drafting the Finnish players. I think he's a good winger that can definitely fill on and maybe maybe not right away, but I think he can definitely eventually make that top 6 in a couple years, which I think they're going to need once, Koivu retires. They're already losing Solani, so I think they're definitely going to need to fill a hole in a top 6 winger position. I think Kapanen, depending on his development, could do that in, pretty soon time. So that's my top 10, guys, but I also wanted to add my Detroit pick. Obviously, Detroit fan, have to add that one. So Detroit, guys, has the number 15 pick in this draft. My thinking is, like always, Detroit will probably trade back. They like to do this. If they can add at least a second, sometimes, they even add, if they can add at least like a third or a fourth. They usually end up adding a second, though, which is amazing, but if they can add at least a third or a fourth, move back a few slots, I think they'll definitely do that, as, the talent from, I would say 14-ish to 25-ish is pretty similar, and I hope what they do is they trade back and they get the local boy, Windsor Spitfire, Joshua HoSang. One thing is, Joshua HoSang, very skilled forward. Obviously, I've seen him play a bunch. Very good player. The only thing with him is that he's got a bit of a discipline problem, as well as not the biggest defensive player, so I'm hoping Detroit can trade back, draft him in a later spot with, an additional couple picks or a second round pick, whatever it is, and hopefully, he can play in Grand Rapids a couple years, learn the defensive side of the game, still have that, obviously, scoring touch, and become a really good player. That's kind of, the top 10 picks were kind of like what I think's gonna happen. That pick right there is what I'd like to happen, but, we'll see, in 3 or 4 days here, exactly how it goes down. I'm really excited for this draft, guys. I hope you guys are too. If you are, please leave a like. Helps me out eventually. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you do that. Besides that, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for NHL videos. Have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.
It's the kind of beat that go.